Hey guys, it's James Walsh here from the Wrestling Epicenter. I'd like to thank you for finding us here on YouTube. If you get the opportunity, please click that subscribe button as well as the notifications bell. This way, anytime that we upload any new content or new to you content from our archives dating back to 2002, you'll be notified. You can check out what we're up to. Please also check out www.wrestlingepicenter.com for all your wrestling news and information needs, as well as check out our store to keep us running free and clear. Without any further delay, let's get to why you're here. Thanks for checking out Wrestling Epicenter on YouTube.
Hello everybody, this is Ross Foreman, and I just want to welcome everybody again to this very special Spike TV TNA Wrestling teleconference as we prepare for the launch tomorrow night, Thursday, October 4th, of the first 2-hour edition of Impact. Of course, that airs from 9 to 11 Eastern Time, and as a few of you have asked me already, yes, this is a permanent 2-hour time slot, not simply a one-time deal. We are 2 hours from here on out. Again, a reminder, Bound for Glory, next Sunday, October 14th, live from Atlanta, Georgia. Should be a great one. With that, I'd like to welcome our special guest, President of TNA Wrestling, Dixie Carter. And just a reminder to everybody, due to our limited time today, we of course would like to keep the focus on the 2-hour move for Impact and of course Bound for Glory. Thank you very much.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. So, first question?
Amanda, we can open it up for questions now.
Ross, can people hear us, you think?
Yes.
If you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad.
Come on, Jeff. Now, maybe it's not coming up here. I'll shut it off.
Your first question comes from King Jordan.
Jeff. Good afternoon, Mrs. Carter. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Congratulations on the 2-hour time slot.
Thank you so much. We're obviously thrilled.
Okay, as you know, this year has been a big disappointing year in terms of wrestling in some controversial ways. With that in mind, I'd like to know TNA's steroid policy.
Uh-oh.
And if there is one, can you explain it?
Well, TNA has an active drug policy that's in place which prohibits the use of all illegal drugs for unprescribed medications of any kind, and obviously that includes steroids. For some time, we've been reviewing this policy to make sure it protects both our talent and maintains a safe, productive, and a really drug-free environment for these guys to work. This is, in my opinion, both a legal and a moral responsibility. And, we're looking at better educating our talent, their families, as well as those who work with them about the dangers of such substances. And rehabilitation is a big part of that. This is an area that, continues to evolve, and we're all continuing to understand it better. And no one has all the answers right now, but we will be adjusting policies accordingly, to our current drug policy as we continue to learn more.
Dixie, will you ever compete on Monday nights?
Oh, I think that would be an ultimate goal, obviously. When we first came on to Spike, we've had 3 time slot changes in a 14-month period, which is really almost a death sentence to any television show. And we've had success. And, when they wanted to put us on Thursday nights, we were, very interested, obviously, in going Mondays, but they were branding Thursday night their big male-dominated Thursday night knockouts with UFC and TNA, their 2 cornerstone properties. And, with this announcement of the 2-hour show, Thursday nights becomes TNA night, and, UFC's moving to Wednesday. So we're delighted with that. But, at some point, I think, and hope that we do go up against them, but that's the reason that for the Thursday night move.
Okay, one last question. You're going to Atlanta.
Yes.
You're going to Chicago. When are you going to come to the Big Apple, New York City?
We would love to come to the Big Apple. We're actually looking at multiple markets for 2008. We hope to do a majority of our pay-per-views on the road. You know, the live event part of our business is going to be the biggest growth segment of our company next year into 2008. And, you know, we're looking at a lot of cities, including New York. And, you know, it's time for us to get out there. Universal Studios has been great to work with. You know, we've got 20 million people every year exposed to our product going in and out of that park. And, you know, people have come to see us. Now it's our time to get out there and take it to the next level and make a real solid commitment to touring. And I'm very excited about it, and I hope to see you personally there at that New York show.
Oh, you definitely will, Dixie. And I want to congratulate you on everything, and I hope one day we'll be having more Monday Night Wars.
I agree completely. Thank you so
Way
much.
to go, Nick Papa Giorgio.
Our next question comes from Greg Oliver.
Hey, Dixie. Were there a lot of other networks I went down the road with to try and consider with the 2-hour time slot? There were word that you talked to Fox and different options.
Well, you know, we've had a great relationship with multiple people in the Fox network since the very beginning. When we started years ago looking for a television home, wrestling was a dirty word, quite honestly. And, you know, we took it to Fox Sports, and, you know, out of courtesy, they took the meeting, you know, turning their nose up at it. You know, we're a real sports network, the whole thing, and we popped in a tape and said, you know, you can't tell me that this doesn't compete with any kind of sport out there. Their mouths hit the floor. We got the deal. You know, the same kind of thing with Spike. We had great ratings on Friday afternoons, but, you know, how much does that really tell anybody? Spike had just parted ways with the biggest, you know, wrestling giant out there, the ratings giant, and had no intention of getting back in the game. And again, took the meeting and decided, I think, to stick their little toe in the water after seeing our product. They were so impressed. But you know, it took 2 years of solid growth and proving ourselves to really get them to commit on a higher level. This time around, there were multiple people who were impressed with what we've been able to accomplish, and it was a whole different ballgame for us. But in the end, you know, Spike has been a terrific partner from day one. They know this industry. They know how to market wrestling. And I think you're going to see a whole new relationship between our two companies, and it's going to be exciting for wrestling.
But you don't want to name any other parties that were in negotiations with you guys?
Oh, we did talk to people at Fox. That is true.
Thank you, Dixie.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Ryan Ryder.
Possibly interested in bringing into your company.
You know, there's several guys still out there on the market that are, you know, have great potential and could do some exciting things with TNA. And I think we'll always look at bringing in the right person at the right time for the right reason. But I got to tell you, for tomorrow night's show, and I'm hopeful all of you will tune in. The thing that struck me the most afterwards, and I just was so proud, was that, you know, it featured all the guys that had brought us to the dance. And, you know, there wasn't somebody stealing the thunder from those that had worked so hard to gain this 2-hour spot. And it really is a testament to those who have, you know, day in, day out, week in, week out on this television show, you know, put it all on the line. And I couldn't be prouder of that.
It's definitely been a long time in the making. My other question to you is, will there be any shows coming to Canada, live events here for the Canadian fans?
We're absolutely looking at several places within Canada. The folks from Canada have been fantastic. We get a lot down at Universal. We've seen them at some of the other tours that we've done, tour stops that we've done. And, you know, we've got good partners up there, including yourself. And we definitely want to get up to Canada.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Scott Fishman.
Hi, Dixie. How's it going?
Doing good, thanks.
Just really quick, I just wanted you to provide some insight on the contract that you have right now, the renewal with Spike TV, and how long it lasts, and if that includes specials down the line.
Well, it's a 4-year contract, and I think we definitely will look at doing some specials as well as potentially some other programming. We've got some great concepts that we've been discussing, and I wouldn't be surprised to see TNA programming growing on Spike.
Mm-hmm. As far as the taping schedule is concerned, is that going to change at all down the line? Maybe more live program, even though it costs a lot of money to do that.
Well, the taping schedule has already changed. We are now taping Impacts on Mondays and Tuesdays instead of taping 2 shows in one day, which we've done in the past. So from that standpoint, it has already expanded.
Mm-hmm. After the first set of tapings, did you notice anything, any snags or anything that you guys need to work on, or things that worked well that you're going to do next time?
You know what? It was the smoothest taping day. Everybody was so relaxed, but there was such a feeling of excitement and electricity. We had a post-party with Spike afterwards after the first taping that was just so much fun. And I think everybody agreed that it was a flawless day. It was fun, and that's what TNA is all about. And it really is going to give us the chance to do what we do best, and that's in-ring product. But we all know that you have to have the storylines and make them compelling to have people have a vested interest in these characters. So now we'll have more time and be able to do both and strike a much, much better balance.
Mm-hmm. Just one last question on the talent. Is there any update on Judas Macias and his participation in Bound for Glory?
The last I heard is that he is still injured. It could be another 4 to 6 weeks. We found out literally, I believe, the day before our 2-hour taping that he had suffered an injury off a ladder in a main event match down in Mexico. He was in the hospital, and he is recuperating right now. As for Bound for Glory at this point, I'm not sure to what extent he will be able to participate.
All right, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Success.
Our next question comes from Mike Johnson.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Dixie. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Good. I had a couple questions about the creative process.
Yes,
Obviously, when you were on TNA Today a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that it would give the 2-hour burst will give a chance to have deeper characters and longer matches.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been a lot of criticism of the creative process. Particularly because Vince Russo is involved, and obviously he has a storied history with the Internet. What is your opinion of the criticism of the creative team currently? Do you feel it's justified? Do you think it's just people not understanding the creative process? And what would you like to see changed about the creative process now that you have more time to utilize your performers?
Well, I think what I want to see changed is what the creative team wants to see changed, what the talent wants to see changed, and that is longer matches and the ability to develop more characters. There are so many talented guys on our roster that deserve that time, but, when we were, faced with 42 minutes, if you tried to get 3 or 4 things across, which is still not that much, it felt too rushed. When you slow it down and do it the way it should be done, you're only getting maybe 1 or 2 things across, and it's not enough. So, we'll see. I'm very confident that this 2 hours is going to allow us to spread our wings and do what we do best. I think the first part of your question was, judging the creative process or things such as that. We each have personal opinions of what we like and dislike, and, that's why God made us all so unique. I think the bottom line is what I'm looking at is, even though we had the 3 time slot changes in those 15 months, I look at the number of people who are watching TNA Today, TNA Today, not TNA Today the show, but TNA Today versus 2 years ago. 2 years ago we were doing about 800,000 viewers, and in recent weeks we've been, consistently doing 1.5 million viewers on the debut show. That's close to 100% increase. And, our ratings have increased over 30% during this time. And I think, that is a gigantic success story for any television show that's launched out there in today's market.
Right.
So we'll continue to watch that real closely, and hopefully we'll see those trends develop even more.
Right, and my second and final question is the status of the X Division. When TNA first debuted you guys at the weekly pay-per-views, the X Division was kind of the calling card where guys went to make their names. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Senshi. Now it's kind of evolved into almost a second-tier division with names like Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal, who obviously are very talented, but have not had the chance to step up and show themselves in the same light as the earlier X Division guys. what is the other? Are there any plans to like infuse new talent into the X division or present it in a different way now that you've got more time? Like what is the? You've obviously got the women's division coming in. You've got a tag division, but the X division. One thing that I see a lot of readers for my site have criticism of is that the X division is not presented in the same light that it used to be, and that's what they would like to see more of in TNA. So what are the plans for the X division in the future?
Well, I think when we started TNA, we had that 2-hour pay-per-view format, and we had the time to really get in there and allow the X Division stars to do what they do best. And they did it so well that several of them have moved beyond the X Division. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, Chris Daniels on a tag situation. And, we're growing new stars right now, and I think this format will allow us to get back to what that division does the best. And I think you take a look at that Kurt Angle, Jay Lethal match, and, in my opinion, that's one of the best matches, I've seen in a really long time, and it featured one of the biggest names in wrestling along with one of the newest stars in the X Division in, a wrestling clinic, and I thought it was beautifully done, and I think that tells you a little bit about where we're going with the X Division.
Sure, thank you.
You bet, Mike.
So this one is totally out of place. Total bullshit. Total Gorgon shit. I tell you, it's totally outlandish vaudeville, if you will. The reason I say that is because Dixie Carter did a media call in 2007, and this isn't it. Our audio file for that interview is FUBAR. I don't know what happened to it. It's not right. But here is one that we do have, which was a media call from 2012 that we were part of, and we never aired it. We never did anything with it. So, just plugging it in for the purpose of the numbers, this is Dixie Carter's media call addressing the state of TNA in 2012, even though, number-wise, if you're following along at home, and if you are, you really need to seek help, should be a 2007 interview. But anyway, if we ever get a hold of the 2007 one, we'll upload it as a missing file for you guys. But here's the 2012 media call with one Dixie Carter, who we interviewed, by the way, a year prior in 2006 as a one-on-one interview on The Blaze, 1260 AM.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris Thomas with TNA. Thank you all for calling in. We appreciate it, and it's a truly international call. We've got a variety of countries on the line, and we're going to be taking questions for the next 90 minutes, roughly. We might go a little longer, depending on how time allows. Please keep in mind, only one question and one follow-up question if you need it. Secondary questions may be asked if time allows near the end. There will also be an MP3 available after the call. Please contact either myself, Simon Rothstein, or Rowan Herbstreet, depending on which country you are from. Contact your TNA PR rep. So quick preview for this upcoming live Impact this Thursday, tomorrow night. We're going live on Spike TV here in the States. We're also changing time slots, 8 p.m. We're featuring the return of the Icon Sting. He's facing the champion Bobby Roode in a lumberjack match to kick off the Hot show. Brooke Hogan will make her Impact Wrestling debut. The countdown to June 10th Slammiversary, which is right around the corner at the College Park Center in Arlington, is going. We've got our 10-year spectacular anniversary there. Devon will also defend his television championship against the choice of the fans. We've got some stuff online at ImpactWrestling.com that the fans get to vote tomorrow. It opens at noon Eastern. Fans get to vote, and you'll see your match that the fans pick on the live television broadcast tomorrow night. So, also, international news, lockdown, the road to lockdown hits the UK and Ireland in January 13. Every show has a cage match, and there'll be a double TV taping at Wembley. So lots going on that we're doing there. So, guys, we've got the TNA president, Dixie Carter, on the line with us, and we'll open it up for questions now. She's ready to take your questions. The operator will give some quick instructions, and you will have time with Dixie. Thank you for joining us, and more info to come.
Hi, everyone.
And we'll go ahead and start some calls here, guys.
At this time, I would like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Your first question comes from Mike Johnson with PWInside.com.
Hey,
Mike.
Dixie, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Obviously, tomorrow is a major move for TNA in terms of going live every week for the first time in company history. What's the company's attitude towards the move in comparison to when you guys moved to Monday nights for a while and were doing the live broadcast up against Raw? Like, is it a similar sort of feeling of excitement, or is it a more guarded feeling considering how the Monday night experiment turned out?
Well, we've had maybe 2 or 3 live Impact shows in the past, but this is a completely different feeling tomorrow. I mean, the fact that, you know, we're going live all summer, it's the kickoff to that. It's a new time slot change for us, you know, shifting an hour earlier. You know, everybody's really excited. I think it's better than just a one-night kind of event. We've got things planned all summer long, and you know, we're going to be trying some new things on the show as well that I'm very excited about, and being able to do them live will make them, in my opinion, that much more impactful.
Just one quick follow-up. You, right before the press conference began, you guys issued a press release talking about a lot of the new reality-based elements that Impact is going to start showing. We saw some of that last week in the segments where Hulk Hogan was trying to determine who was going to challenge Bobby Roode at the end of Impact. What's your take on that form of reality being interspersed into pro wrestling? Because it's a different style of presentation than TNA's had in the past. How excited are you about it? Because, you know, in my opinion, it felt like it really freshened up a number of characters that have been exposed in the company for many, many years, and added an additional impetus and additional importance to the championship and the chase to get to that championship. So I was curious what your thoughts on that style of presentation has been so far.
Well, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, in that one segment, you saw a different view of 5 very important people on our show. And I am more excited about doing that than anything that we've done in our company history. Look, 15 years ago, reality TV didn't exist, but it's permanently altered the way the landscape is for network and cable television viewing today. We've done some stuff in the past, the 70 kind of fly-on-the-wall backstage element, the deliberation scene that you mentioned, and I think we've done an outstanding job of it. But it's really time for us to take this to another level. It's going to be an evolution. You know, I invite you to stay tuned as we continue to change and grow, you know, in the coming weeks and months. But it's something that is, in my opinion, going to be a very much needed way of watching wrestling.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. If there's time later on, I'll jump back in again.
Thanks, Mike.
Your next question comes from Mike Lano with CBS Radio.
Hey, Dixie.
How are you?
Congratulations again on tomorrow. You remind me a lot of Ann Gunkel from the 70s, who took on the whole NWA all by herself in Atlanta and won for 2 years. So,
well, thank you, sir.
It's great having intelligent women in the industry. And we all love TNA. We all want it to be successful. No disrespect, and I know Brooke Hogan has brought quite a bit of mainstream press, a la when Pac-Man Jones and other national players came in. But, we don't know what her, in terms of behind-the-scenes credibility is yet. Why not use the money to bring somebody back like a Scotty D'Amore or a Fit Finley type who, particularly with Scott, when the TNA women's division was the jewel of the industry for American wrestling, why not, it's just a supposition, why not bring somebody like that in, or a Jacqueline to do that who really have been in wrestling, as opposed to being sort of, kind of watching all the stuff that her father has done around the world.
I think you hit it. 2 different things. One, you don't know how it's going to play out, so I hope you give us a chance to see. And 2, it's very important. This division
very important to me. As a female head of a predominantly male company, a wrestling company, for women to get out there and do that, have to set a certain standard that needs to be better than anything else that's out there. And I feel like we've got the best female wrestlers on the planet, on any roster that there is. Just a little backstory on Brooke Hogan. Met her a couple of years ago. We hit it off. But, my past life was in the music business, and, she's been pursuing a music career. And that's where we really bonded over talking about music. And I heard her talent and was, quite honestly, I went in with one perception of how I thought she would be talent-wise, and I was really blown away. And so, I've been guiding her more, becoming more and more involved because I think she has a lot of potential. But during these conversations, they would always kind of find their way back to wrestling. And here's a girl who has been living and breathing wrestling her entire life. She has been under the greatest single wrestler that will probably ever live in the history of our industry, has gotten to learn and see, from the time we were having dinner with my daughter and my family the other night, and, she was telling Reese, I remember being 7 and sitting there as my dad is talking business and, talking business with some of the greats. And so she's always she's always learned from this, and she's incredibly intelligent. She's a big star in her own right, and I think we've got the greatest wrestlers. But what we really need is we need somebody to help us give them more exposure. And I think Brooke is going to be a great character on television. She is not going to wrestle. She is going to continue to pursue her music. But I think one of the biggest things she will do for us is shine a spotlight on the knockouts that they very much deserve.
Knockouts are definitely, ODB and Velvet really showed it on Fox and Friends. They really performed admirably, so continued success there.
Thank you so much.
Your next question comes from Scott Fishman with Miami Herald.
Hey, Scott. How are you? I'm great. You?
Good. I was just curious out now as TNA approaches its 10-year anniversary and looking back and going through so many changes with the company, what has been, would you say, your biggest challenge and receiving all the criticism and taking that in and then, making something of it as, live shows, whether it's to go on the road and everything like that?
I think if you're smart, you listen to your fans, you listen to the criticism, and you learn from it and you grow. Not everybody has the perspective or the information that I have that we have to make decisions within. So that's a unique position to be in. So, but I do weigh that very carefully. And listen, let me just say this. I am so proud that, in just a few short days, we will be celebrating our 10th year in this business. I've never been more proud to be associated with anything in my professional career. I truly, truly love the men and women that make up our roster, that are behind the scenes, that work in this office. You have a group of people who, in my opinion, work harder, they care more. We have a working environment, and we've achieved so much in 10 years. I mean, I don't think there's a person on this call, if you covered us back, 10 years ago, that would have said we'd have been in business for 10 months. And you know what? It was really tough. There were times where I didn't know if we were going to be in business for 10 months. It almost didn't last 10 weeks. But you know what? We were strong. We pulled together. We made, better decisions. But, I'm very proud of how much we've accomplished, but more importantly right now, where we're going. I look back and, we've made a ton of mistakes. I mean, I'm going to be the first to say that, and I'll, take responsibility for them, both creatively and in how we've approached certain things. But it's been a learning curve, and I think we're on a very, very good road. If you've not watched our show in a long time, I would encourage people to tune in because I don't think we have ever produced such quality television as we're doing right now.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Your next question comes from John Pollock with The Law.
Hey, Dixie. How are you doing?
I'm great, John. Thanks.
I just wanted to ask in terms of moving to the new format right now, there is that hour right now from 10 to 11. I'm just curious about maybe some of your pay-per-view plans for 2013 and if there's any talk of maybe doing a couple specials every year specials on Spike?
Well, Spike asked us around last Thanksgiving to take Impact to 3 hours, and we just did not feel like that was a good move. We felt quality over quantity, and so I think that we're very comfortable with our show being 2 hours. Do we need more programming? Absolutely. Do we want to have some specials, and will we look to have some specials in 2013? I believe that we will, no question.
And just a quick follow-up, is the plan right now for 12 pay-per-views next year and to keep the same format you guys have currently right now?
I'm not a fan of doing 12 pay-per-views. We only have one 2-hour television show, and, that's a big challenge. We've got some contracts that we're trying to renegotiate right now. So, hopefully we'll see that change in 2013, where when we do have a pay-per-view, everyone is something that's unique and special, and, we'll be able to evolve how we do pay-per-views, much like we're attempting to do evolve our television show right now.
All right. Thanks very much for the time, Dixie, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Your next question comes from Jeff Weiland with Daytona Beach News Journal.
Hello, Dixie. How are you?
I'm great, Jeff. Thanks.
Good. I wanted to talk a little bit about Florida has a huge wrestling tradition. I mean, going back, decades. Talk a little bit about going forward. Are we more likely to see shows continue at Universal Studios? Are we going to go on the road to various Florida locales? Or might we hit the road elsewhere for the live shows?
Well, it's interesting because I think that, there's all corners of the state that have rich history in wrestling, and, I've gotten to experience a lot of that and hear about it through some of our talent. But I think as far as Orlando's concerned, the plan right now, I would rather be able to go live and stay there. I think the goal is ultimately to go live and on the road. I mean, there's no doubt that would not be the very, very, very best product that we can put out. But look, I want to be in business and having this conversation with you in another 10 years, and to do so, we've got to make some good business decisions. And, the touring market out there is soft right now, and, we've got to get to a place where we can, generate the kind of income that, will help cover the expenses of going both live and on the road. So I think the new format will, allow us to, utilize the Universal property to its best ability, and then take viewers on a greater journey outside, 24/7, the other 7 days a week, where you may see scenes playing out from any city in the country in a variety of different ways. And I think that will in itself freshen up our show, even staying at Universal.
All right. Thank you very much, Dixie.
Appreciate it.
Your next question comes from Sean Radican with Pro Wrestling Torch.
Hi,
Sean.
Congratulations on 10 years.
Thank you so much. Very proud.
How long will the summer live series last, and is it possible that Spike could keep it live beyond the allotted date if the performance is strong?
Well, right now the plan is for a full 12 weeks to go live. There is one dangling week between a pay-per-view, so I hope we'll be able to at least stretch it to 13. But that's really all the talk that there's been so far. I wanted to do something and stay with it consistently for a period of time. It's going to take a little while for us to see how it happens. We're not only going live, we're not only, working on some elements that are changing in our format, but we're also changing our time slot too. So it's, and we're doing it during the summer. So that's a little bit of an uphill battle, but hopefully the product will, speak for itself. People will find us, and it'll be very, very successful. Would love to do it, from here on out, obviously.
A quick follow-up. What have you learned from some of the mistakes that were made during the attempted Monday Night Live experiment in 2010?
Well, we've got an incredible competitor that has a 25-year head start on us, and the main thing I learned is people watch television differently today than they did back in the Monday Night Wars. And I think even from the last 12 months, we're seeing a huge shift in how people watch TV. I mean, I practically don't watch a show during, its initial broadcast anymore. I'm a DVR person. I don't have a lot of time in life. And I think that we're finding that the entire television industry is facing this same dilemma right now. So I think it's going to be a shift in how we look at our ratings, and that'll be interesting over time. But I feel good about the changes we're making, and a big impact on, our success.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, press star 1. Your next question comes from Jonathan Williams with Wrestling with Pop Culture.
Hi, Dixie. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. So I want to ask you about, you were talking about WWE a little bit in your previous answer. It seems like WWE's attitude towards TNA and other wrestling companies has changed quite a bit over, the past year or so, specifically with TNA and the induction of Ric Flair into the Hall of Fame again and all of that. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, why you think that might be happening.
I can't speak to, how they feel. My personal opinion is, to not acknowledge competition is ridiculous, and I think competition is absolutely critical to the success of any business, whether you're a Home Depot and a Lowe's or Walgreens and a CVS or a Coke and Pepsi, Hearst, Avis. I mean, you look at it, it doesn't matter what industry that you're in, it makes you better. It makes you work harder. It makes you pay attention more. And it makes it exciting and fun. That's how we feel about it. I don't know how other people take it, but, I just think it's absolutely critical for the fans more than anything else to have options.
Okay. And given that you are celebrating your 10th anniversary or about to, and also celebrating a lot of changes that have been going on leading into the big change tomorrow night, how do you think all of that will affect your standing, against your bigger competitor, and what other changes might you have planned to perhaps try to elevate TNA to something closer to the status of WWE?
Well, I think our thought is, instead of trying to compete in the same form and format as our competitor, let's compete in the same industry, but let's try to be different. Let's try to be unique. Let's look at it through fresh eyes and try to present our product in a way that we feel like we can do and that will be best for us and will give us, and in our opinion, a really strong competitive advantage. I think the thing I'm most proud of, wrestling matters. Wrestling, it matters to me, to us. It's not a dirty word. And it's something that we're all very, very proud of, but we're very excited about taking what we do best and presenting it in a unique way, pulling that curtain back and widening the focus of the real elements that go into our business. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating.
All right. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from Matthew Herrick with InsidePost.com.
Hi, Dixie. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Congrats on the 10 years.
Thanks, Matthew.
Just one quick question I had for you. Now with the whole going live and actually moving the time slot up to 8 p.m., TNA has been known for being more of the quote-unquote wrestling company compared to the entertainment company WWE has been presenting. Are you under any pressure, or do you have any thoughts of taming down some of the blood, the violence, some of the sexual innuendo that you're getting, or is it kind of business as usual even though you are going an hour earlier?
I think that we do take all of those elements that you just mentioned very seriously and try to present them in the right way. I think it is, business as usual. But, those are all things that, we take seriously. To do something that is sexually offensive for it to be that way is ridiculous. Have we done in the past? A little bit. I won't say that we've done that too much, but, that's a waste of time. Too much blood means nothing. Too much language means nothing. I mean, I think whatever happens has, it's got to have meaning, and it's got to make sense, and in our attempt to keep things as real as possible, some of that is going to come out.
One quick follow-up on that is there any fear among, I wouldn't say the locker room, but I would say among yourselves or among some of the Spike TV executives or anybody of not having that filter of having a pre-tape show of everything that's going on, it's going on live, and whether if somebody slips or if there's language or something else slips by the censors, is that an actual fear that you think, or you think you're production-wise, you're solid enough, and you're ready to do this for, you said, the 12 to 13 weeks you're doing it for the summer?
Look, live TV is live TV, and there's always going to be some mistakes, but I think that's what makes live TV so special. I don't believe there is one, since I left television last time when we taped 2 weeks ago, all of this has transpired. The guys are seeing that press release today for the first time, just like you are. When I left last week, I didn't know that we were going to be able to go live, much less that we'd be going live May 31st. This is happening at warp speed for us, but we're ready. We're going to do great. I know I've gotten more text from the guys than I ever have before about just how excited they are about to go live. I mean, there's certain things in place to, if an F-bomb is dropped, I mean, it's going to be bleeped out, and we have that ability, and we will do so. But, I just think there's nothing like, the feel. Like, if you're watching a sports show that's taped, it's just, it doesn't have the same, there's not the same desire or need to watch it in real time. And I think, with DVRs just making our life completely different, the one way to try to combat that is for us to present our show live. One challenge has been is that 2 or 3 people can sit in our audience during our tape shows, and they can give you your opinion. They can give people their opinion of it. They can say it's great, it stinks, or whatever, and usually they're going to lean more towards the negative side. They'll not only do that, but they'll tell them exactly what order the show's going to happen in. So if you're reading this, you're going to be making a decision, based upon potentially 1, 2, 3 people's opinion of a show versus watch it, and you're also going to know what, when things are going to happen. You may say, this isn't going to happen until the middle of the show. I need to turn in at the top of the hour. Well, this eliminates all of that, and I can tell you from what we are going to do in these formats, you are not going to want to miss it. We're not going to stay the same week to week. We're going to mix it up, and we're going to make it a real challenge not to tune in for the full 2 hours.
Great. Thank you, Dixie, and good luck on tomorrow night and the weeks going forward.
Thank you so much.
Your next question comes from Paul Wine with Fever Keeps It Real.
Hello, Dixie. I just want to first of all say congratulations on 10 years. I concur with my colleagues that you're doing a phenomenal job, and it's a very good product.
Thank you, Paul, very much.
No problem. I just want to ask you, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and a lot of our fans, we covered your MCU Park shows.
Yes.
In Coney Island, and every time we interviewed a fan, they were very excited about the shows. And it's only a 6,000-seat arena, which you sold out, but it sounded like 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept saying to me, Brooklyn needs a TNA pay-per-view.
It's funny you said that. I just sent that note to my head of live events yesterday.
Because they're asking me, because a lot of the fans, I told them I tweeted that I'm going to be on with you, and they said, will they do a Brooklyn pay-per-view? Because you would make history.
Yesterday I did.
Do it.
I emailed my head of live events, and I said that to them. I got to tell you that I am so excited. I have watched that show online. I've had cameras set up for me to be able to watch that show the last couple of years, but I will be there this year. I'm so excited about it. And it's been those base brawls. It's a really unique. The thing that I'm really proud about is that our live events are something special. We don't take for granted, and this starts at, I can't say everybody 100% believes this, but it is our environment because this is our corporate philosophy. We wouldn't be in this business today if it weren't for one fan telling a next, one person sticking with us, one person buying that $10 pay-per-view back in our past. And I don't take that for granted one minute, and as a company, we don't take that for granted. We're not out there to take the money. We're out there to give an experience. And I think one of the things that we really do best is give that personal experience to people who attend live events. Let them get up close, touch the product, feel the product, get to meet somebody. And I think when they walk away, the comments that I read from, fathers who took their sons for the first time, or, groups of guys going together, or a guy bringing his girlfriend for the first time, that's the sentiment that I hear over and over again. And I think that, again, it's what we do very, very well. So, Brooklyn, I'm on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a follow-up question real quick. You have a lot of people on the independent scene now. John Morrison, the Bella Twins, Maurice, Melina. Any interest?
Well, I think it two different levels there. If it's a guy or a female that have already an established career, yes, there's interest, and I think that we're looking at those people all the time. If it is a new person to the industry, I think that's what Gut Check does so well. We found, several of our talent through Gut Check. I mean, Crimson, Rosita, Desi Sorensen, Gunner, a few others, and we realized that this is a really neat opportunity to show, and this will be part of what we did. We did it last month, and we're going to continue it on and even pull the curtain back a little bit more, but show people. I think it's fascinating the process we go through in trying to find, new talent and how we evaluate them and what happens behind the scenes. And it's such a pressure cooker for these guys. I mean, when I see them backstage and they're just looking at me and they're, after their match, they're looking for, feedback, and we can't say anything because we've got this week, long deliberation. It's exciting. It's great TV. What happened the first week, with the decision being reversed, I mean, that was real live taped television. I mean, it happened like that. He went out there, I had my I'm sorry, kid speech prepared, and he came back, and I was like, well, I got to come up with something else to say to you. So I thought that was neat, and I think it's one of the exciting new elements that people are going to start to see in our show, and a way for some of these new talent to be featured more quickly and, put into the system in an exciting way.
Well, Dixie, it's been an honor. Thank you. And one more thing, thank you for letting wrestling matter again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Your next question comes from Brian Fritz with BetweenTheRopes.com.
Hi, Dixie.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, now obviously with the show going live, there's a huge advantage when it comes to using social media, but do you expect, or have you had any research that's shown that just by going live, you expect the ratings to go a little bit better immediately?
No, I think it's going to be a challenge, like I said before. Changing time slots is the unknown element in this. So how many people are going to tune in at 8 and miss the first hour of the show? I think, the more we can get the message out there that you are not going to want to miss the beginning of the show, the better. But, so as it relates to the ratings, I don't expect that, because I think I think it will help us gain momentum faster in a new time slot, for sure. But the one thing it does do is it gives us the opportunity to be very socially interactive, and we'll be looking at all different, platforms to be able to do it, letting the fans decide, like for tomorrow night, for instance, they're going to pick who Devon's television opponent is. We're looking to ask them questions, feature fan of the week, have their input throughout the show, ask polls. So it is going to be something unlike we've ever had the ability to do before on our show, and something that I'm very excited about, not just for tomorrow night, because I feel like tomorrow night will be the show that will be the most socially interactive program in the history of professional wrestling. But I think it's only going to get better in the weeks following.
And on that same note, I know in the press conference you put out, you talked about how not only going to be using more social media, but cameras are going to be everywhere. You're going to be, quote, pulling back the curtain even further and giving fans more perspective of what happens behind the scenes. Can you expand on that a little bit more? Is that going to be something that it's always going to be live, or would that be uncut segments that maybe are taped earlier in the day or in the week that will be shown on there? You're
going to see segments that could be taped at any point, 24/7 the week, from leading from television to television. So, one of the key things we're really trying to do is, in the past we've always, wrestling has been scripted, and it's been scripted to come in at 3 minutes on this segment or 2 minutes on this segment, and we want to let the guys just cut loose. I think we've got some incredibly talented men and women that I think, just from one of the comments before, that opening scene with Hulk Hogan. Look, with Hulk Hogan, for decades, you've seen, him be his character. And I think last week you saw just a taste of what he does behind the scenes. I mean, I get very defensive when it comes to people talking about Hulk Hogan's there to take a paycheck and he's there to take television time. Even, if he's been off TV for 5 months, people will say something like that. But I got to tell you, when I'm in a meeting and we're planning the show and we're talking about that show, and I hear him talk so passionately, and he's not paid to be there, and he comes and he sits in these meetings and he works with the talent and he's trying to make them better. He's trying to make our show better. And when I see him so passionate, and I feel honored. He works for me. I'm president of the company, and I feel honored sitting in those meetings. I was like, why could other people not see this side of him? I mean, we all know his character. It's been around for decades. But what I get to see is what I think is going to be so evolutionary in how we view wrestling. I think as it relates to Hulk Hogan directly, I think it's going to be a big part of his, the legacy that he leaves in this business, not what he did for himself, but what he did for others. And I think as it relates to our other characters, those 4 guys in that segment last week, they weren't scripted. They said, you want to be in the main event tonight? It all unfolded real. It was a 15-minute segment, and, he just had a meeting with them. Those were real emotions, real feelings going on, and, they didn't know who was not going to be, who was going to be cut first or second or who was going to make it in. And I think that allowed them to show their characters on such a different level, and I'm excited about exploring that more and more.
Thanks, Dixie.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from Jason Powell with ProWrestling.net.
Jason.
Hey, Dixie. Obviously, there's, it's an expensive move for you and the network with production costs and travel expenses. So I'm curious, is there a particular ratings mark or viewership average that you feel you need to reach at some point for this live experiment to be considered successful?
No, you know what? Honestly, that conversation has not been had, nor have I even thought about it. I think the most important thing is consistency right now, developing, characters, great story, and not rushing things. I think one of the criticisms that I think is definitely legitimate is, us trying to put 10 pounds of story in a 5-pound bag. And, it's tough when you have so many great men and women who deserve to be on television and you only have one show, with a lot of commercial time in it, it's hard. It's hard to, to take the time to step back, to slow down. One of the things that we've done is we've worked on a 6-month story arc. We've created a Bible, a week-to-week Bible. I mean, everything we're doing is so thought through, and there's such a commitment to structure and story that I think that is going to start to have an effect, especially as we not only take that great story and, show it in a different way. So it's just going to take some time. I think, again, the time slot change is going to, we're going to have to, and trying to do it in the summer, it's going to take a little time for people to find us in a new time slot. But we'll hit our mark, and I think with the show that we have, that we want to do, I think it'll happen faster than it would any other way.
And secondly, can you comment publicly on where things stand with Ric Flair and Alex Shelley?
As far as, we really work to protect the privacy, confidentiality of anything as it relates to our company and our wrestlers. As it relates to Alex in particular, he's a great talent. I'd love to see him back with us at some point. The door is always open. And, as it relates to Rick, I cannot comment any further.
All right. Well, thank you and best of luck, Dixie.
Thank you so much.
Your next question comes from Brandon Dando with Pulse FM Radio Australia.
Hello.
Hello, Dixie. How are you? How are you guys,
How are
Dixie?
things down under?
Always good down here. Now, firstly, what role will you be playing on tomorrow's Live Impact? And secondly, with the 10-year celebration of TNA Wrestling and the recent announcement of another UK tour in January, would now be a good time to update all us diehard Aussie fans on when we should expect a TNA tour down under?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, as it relates to my role tomorrow, I'm very excited because, one, I'm going to introduce Brooke on the show, but I am also going to be making a big announcement that, in my opinion, is historic for us. It's going to be, and I'm very, very personally excited about it, and, maybe even another announcement tomorrow night. So something that you'll have to tune in to listen to. But as far as Australia is concerned, just like getting to the UK was a huge priority for our company, getting to Australia, New Zealand is our top touring priority as far as new markets are concerned. And I know we're working on it. We've been looking for buildings, dates, times, all of that. So it's not a pipe dream. It's going to happen, and if I have anything to do with it, it will happen much sooner than later.
Thanks heaps for your time, Dixie, and I wish you all the best for tomorrow night.
Thank you so much. Cannot wait to get down there and see all of our Australian, New Zealand fans in person.
Thanks for that. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Your next question comes from Blaine Vandergrind with Slam Wrestling.
How are you?
I'm great, Blaine. How are you?
I'm good. With all these major changes that have been made to the company in the last 10 years, in addition to Impact going live tomorrow, it seems like the biggest challenge has been with the follow-up. So my question is, should this change be a successful one, how do you intend to follow this up, and what would you like to see accomplished in, say, the next 10 years?
Well, I think follow-up is a key thing that we have not been great at. I think that, I've heard the excuse, oh, it's wrestling, we don't need to follow up with that. Who kidnapped Samoa Joe, and what happened to the Jackie Gata videotape that was held over her head? Those are things that, that follow-up, that attention to detail is absolutely critical if we're doing our best work. And there have been times in the past where we have not done our best work, or we've left things without, following up with them and being consistent in our storytelling. That's a big goal. That's where we're trying to, have this long-term arc and the way that we're, writing our story Bible and the consistent formats and where we're going with that. That's going to hold us accountable to being more consistent, and being more consistent is going to be critical to our growth. And I think if you've watched recently, it's been the exception, not the rule, if we have let something slip through the cracks. And that's something I'm very, very proud of, and I'm confident we'll be able to continue that.
Just a quick follow-up. With this particular change tomorrow, what should be then the next step in terms of your growth?
Well, I think that tomorrow is the beginning of a new evolution of where our product's going. So I think that I'm I'm just as excited as anybody to see where this is going to take us. You're not going to tune in tomorrow night and it be a completely different show. No way. But it is going to be an evolution that's going to happen over time. It's a serious commitment to presenting our product in a unique way that I think is important to the way people view television today. It's going to be a new evolution of how people have ever seen, professional wrestling, but it's going to be a journey, and I'm excited about that journey. And once that happens, and once we evolve into this next phase of, what Impact Wrestling is all about, then at that point we'll face our next challenge. But this is not just it's a done deal. What's our next step? It's truly, this is an evolution, and we will be evolving over time. And I'm excited about seeing where this is going to take us.
Okay, thanks for your time and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Your next question comes from David Dunn with NZPWR.
Hello there, Dixie. Just to follow up on the Australia-New Zealand chat before.
Yes.
I know Rinka King has worked out very well over in India, and I was just wondering what's perhaps sort of the possibility of perhaps franchising or sort of an offshoot of TNA from down this way in Australia and New Zealand, hypothetically.
Well, we have, there are talks of taking a Rinka King type show to different parts of the world, but at this time, not as it relates to Australia and New Zealand. My priority is to take me down there, not some other show. So once we accomplish that, then we can talk about other programs. Do the punch within our own company down there. Besides Impact, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much. We look forward to having you down this way at some stage.
Thank you so much.
Your next question comes from Alfonso Castillo with Newsday.
Hey, Dixie, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
I think a lot of us are liking what we're hearing as far as some of the realizations you're talking about, and I think you're being very candid in saying that there's a realization that you were trying to fit too much within the shows and not following through. Can I ask, was there anything that precipitated this change in direction? Was it somebody coming on board or somebody or leaving or something that occurred that kind of opened your eyes to some of these things?
No, it wasn't any one person coming in or gone, leaving. It's more just, how we watch television. I was saying in staff meeting the other day, I asked people, how many of you follow, little children in beauty pageants, and nobody raised their hands. I'm like, how many of you watch Toddlers and Tiaras? 7, 8 people raise their hands. How many of you love, you hang out at pawn shops and things like that? 2 people. How many of you watch Pawn Stars? 15, 17 hands go up. And I'm like, my point is, our show you should not have to just love wrestling to watch our show. We have got, in my opinion, some of the greatest characters on television. We just need to do a better, more unique presentation and give them the free rein to cut loose. And I think not only will we attract more wrestling viewers to our show, but I think that there will be a whole new slew of viewers on the outside who will be proud to say, yeah, I watched that wrestling show. And, that's something I hope happens.
A follow-up on an unrelated note, the issue of concussions in sports has been in the news a lot with the death of Junior Seau and some others. And at the same time, I think there's been a noticeable decrease in some of the more dangerous things we used to see in TNA, unprotected chair shots, things like that. Your competitions banned unprotected chair shots years ago. Can you talk about whether there's been a concerted effort to move away from that, or is it just wrestlers on their own deciding that they don't want to go in that direction?
No, it's absolutely a concerted, effort, decision on the company's part. It's my job to protect these guys. And when people say wrestling is fake, I'm offended because, I see all the bumps, the bruises, the breaks, the pain that these unbelievable men and women go through every time, they put themselves in a ring. And I know the dangers of it. The Jesse Sorensen, that kid is he is so lucky to be alive, and that could happen anytime one of these guys step into a ring. So we've got to try to make what we do as safe as we possibly can and and especially something that is so within our control, and the research is just so blatant that there's no other decision could have been made as it related to that.
Thanks so much. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from Benjamin Held with Pro Wrestling.
Benny?
I'm sorry, Power
Hey, Dixie,
Wrestling.
how you doing?
Good.
Good to talk to you again. My question is regarding the German market, because this January the German tour was canceled and there was no announcement whatsoever about any new dates or something like that.
Are you asking what happened with that? We had an issue with the promoter going over there, and never do we like to cancel a show, but it was it was the right business decision to make. And I think that we've got to get back over there, spend more time in Germany. We're starting to see some real positive trends there, and we need to put forth the effort and the time commitment to continue to grow that country. It's very, very important.
All right, Dixie, good to know. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Your next question comes from Adam Davey with 606C2.
Adam?
The UK here. First of all, before I start, just wanted to say that over the last 12 months, I think TNA has just been fantastic, and it's great to see that some of the the new TV faces such as Rude, Storm, and Aries, they're almost homegrown talent coming through. It's been a real breath of fresh air. So well done on that.
Thank you.
The question I wanted to ask was more to do with you and your day-to-day running of the company. I mean, I've seen from your background that you started off in marketing and advertising, and then you moved into sports and music representation before moving into TNA. And obviously, you're an on-screen character and off-screen character. What I really wanted to know is, bearing in mind your background, what does your actual day-to-day role look like? Do you get involved with creative, with the management of talent, or is it just more higher-level stuff, negotiating with the networks, etc.? And secondly, as well, who advises you on the wrestling side of things, if anyone?
Well, we have, a very talented group. Bruce Pritchard has joined TNA in the last 18 months and has been elevated to our Senior Vice President of Programming and Talent Relations. And, besides my counterpart at WWE, there are a few people in this business who have that kind of expertise, and, he's been fantastic. And so, I think that, I've got a lot of great advisors. What I don't know, I'm not embarrassed to say I don't know. I've learned a lot, but I do know business, and I have worked very, very hard to put together a team of people who are passionate about growing this brand that we love called TNA. So my day-to-day duties, it can be anything. I mean, nothing is beneath me or above me. I think that I feel like I have to set an example on how hard I work, on my attitude, my philosophy, that never say die, attitude, and so it is negotiating deals. It is talking with the creative guys. It's planning international tours. It's a variety of everything. No 2 days are alike, and that's what I absolutely love about the job. I'm very, very blessed.
Brilliant. And you're doing a fantastic job. And just one follow-up question on the talk about Brooke earlier on and coming in, and an announcement about it tomorrow night. Bearing in mind your background in talent relation in the sport and music industry, obviously we've got Brooke at the moment. You've had Tito Ortiz in the past. Have you ever been tempted to bring in more celebrities for crossover appeal like your competitors have done?
Well, we've done that, and I think that we don't do it on an every week basis where you have the potential to do it badly, but I think that the ones that we have brought in have been done very, very well, and they've been done for a specific reason. I mean, most recently we had Montgomery Gentry come in with James Storm, and, they were involved in his music video, and, Velvet Sky, I just saw this morning the rough cut of their new music video, which TNA has featured all over. Velvet Sky is the star of it. It's just a great way to brand and to expose TNA in different worlds. I mean, people complain about, what are you going to do about marketing? And we don't have the budgets that some, and usually when somebody is promoting a series, you spend your money on the series debut and the series finale, or the premiere and the finale, and then it's concentrated, and you see it and you feel it. But we're 52 weeks, all year long, promoting so many different things, so it's spread incredibly thin. One of the things I think we've done really well is expose ourselves within sports to bring in a Brandon Jacobs, a Brian Urlacher, baseball, David Eckstein, Tito, or and most recently King Mo within the UFC, or Montgomery Gentry within music. So when we do it, or even the Jersey Shore people, I think it's been great to show that our character on Impact Wrestling has the same kind of crazy, over-the-top personality that these huge TV stars have, and it exposes us to their audience. So that's a way for us to not do it every single week and do it badly, but pick and choose our opportunities and try to grow our awareness outside of wrestling.
Thanks a lot, Dixie, and good luck with the tour next year in the UK again.
Thanks. I hope to see you.
Will do.
Your next question comes from Ted Gabali with Fighter Magazine.
Hello.
Good evening, Ms. Carter. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks.
Brilliant stuff. I wanted to basically follow up on something somebody else asked earlier about, obviously, the success of Kingra Ring. Ringra King. I always get the...
Ringa King.
I know. It's confused. I always get it wrong. Obviously, with the success of that, do you think there's ever going to be the chance of having a UK sort of based promo or spin-off over here? So we've got some great talent over here. Obviously, there's the likes of Lionheart, who you know well, doing great things up at Preston City Wrestling. You've got Eddie Dennis, the Blossom Twins, who you're obviously aware of from Ohio Valley. Yeah, there's some great talent over here. Do you think there's ever going to be the chance of sort of getting something started over here?
We're working on something as we speak, and stay tuned. I hope something is announced soon.
Brilliant stuff. I should be pestering Sol.
Good answer.
One quick, by the way, a quick note on Sol, because he does so much for you guys over here.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Just Cy Rothstein, the UK.
Oh yes.
Over here. I just was sort of doing a bit of kiss, but I just thought of the sort of name dropping, because you don't realise just how much good stuff he does for you guys over here.
You know what? I do realize it, and he is one of the reasons. I mean, yes, we have a great show, and yes, especially for the past year, we have consistently been the past year and a half, number one rated wrestling show in the UK. But he is great. He has done so much for us to help expose us in ways over there, in non-traditional wrestling ways, and for the product to be taken really, really seriously. I appreciate you saying something, but I do understand what he does and what he's meant to us.
Brilliant. Can I just do one cheeky, quickie follow-up question? Obviously,
a cheeky, quickie one, yes.
Cheeky, quickie one. You've got obviously the UK tour coming up next year, and you're going to have all the cage matches on and stuff. I know you're going to be doing the TV taping down at London. Are there any chances of any other tapings? I mean, obviously Manchester is always a real hotbed for you guys when you come over. Do you think there's ever a chance of doing a TV recording, or even perhaps a pay-per-view from there?
I would love. I wanted to do a TV from London, from the UK, more than a pay-per-view, simply because more people would see it. More people would see and feel what we feel when we're over there. And so I felt like if given the choice between the two, that was what I wanted to expose our broader audience worldwide to. So that was my decision, and I stand by that. I'd love to have a pay-per-view there at some point. But right now, with the way our pay-per-view is currently in December and our taping schedule, if things change, we go live. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that we could potentially tape television over in Manchester. I would love to. That would be a top priority for me right now. But just the way scheduling is, we weren't able to pull it off right now. But if things change and we start, taping differently, we'll see what happens.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much for your time. I know you've got loads of questions to get to, so best of luck for tomorrow. Congratulations on the 10 years, and I hope to see you in January.
Thank you, and thanks for all you do for us over there.
Take care. Good night.
Your next question comes from Dean Dugan with Voice Radio.
Hi, Dean.
Sorry, it's Dwayne. Sorry. Hi, Dixie.
Oh, Dwayne. Hi.
You've been speaking a lot about, going live tomorrow and how that will affect ratings and people watching it, or even, when people, send their opinions to wrestling websites. That obviously, will affect how it's, how the show is done, goes to a viewer. But what about the live show itself? Because, as the last caller was talking about going to England, and we saw it last year in North Carolina, Alabama, and other places. When TNA was on the road to, places that are, starved rather than spoiled of wrestling, it really made, watching the crowds also affected the viewers. It made it feel exciting. You could see it was affecting people in the ring.
I agree, yeah.
If you had to give a time scale on when you would like to, move from just going live to actually going on the road, when could we expect something like that in TNA to happen?
I mean, that's a total business decision, and again, I won't make that decision, until we're ready to make it and take that step forward. But I think you're right. I think that the crowd is a big part of the viewing experience, but going live, the great thing about Universal is, and quite honestly, I mean, there are times when 50% of our audience, comes over from the UK. There's great tours that come over, specifically to see Impact Wrestling, and it's a tremendous honor to us. But, it's not the same people in there week after week, and it's a lot of people who, plan their vacations, their summers, whatever around they'll drive from, like we were talking about before, the different hot spots in around Florida. But I think that, going live will help the energy and the feel even within that building. There should be a significant difference.
Right, and just a quick follow-up. You say that, it's going to last for 12 weeks, hopefully 13. If it's successful, is the plan to run that same period of time next year, or would it be to, continue going live for the remainder of the year?
Honestly, that conversation has not even happened. I appreciate Kevin Kay. I went to him. I said, I want to go live. Let's go live. Let's do it for the summer. I don't just want to do a one-off. And he said yes. So, that's what I asked for. That's what I got. But, would I love to go live from here on out? Absolutely.
Very good. Well, very excited to see what happens tomorrow, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Your next question comes from Sebastian Vaught with Impact.
Yeah,
What's
hi
the name?
Dixie, how are you?
I'm good.
Sebastian.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for this invitation, and especially congratulations to TNA's 10 years anniversary.
Thank you.
So Dixie, my question, TNA is still a rising company with over 1.5 million viewers every week. In the past months and years, Dave Meltzer has published the pay-per-view buy rates, usually between 10 and 20,000 buys. Well, we don't get it, Dixie. If these data are not true, why don't you publish the real pay-per-view buy rates?
Well, first of all, we're a private company, so that's not
I know
information
you don't have to do
that we would, and we would never do that. I mean, I think when you're a private company, there's certain things that you don't announce. You don't announce, when you're public, you announce earnings, you announce the breakdown of those earnings. In a private company, you don't do that. First of all, I don't even get, by the time I see those numbers, it's like I haven't even gotten first reports yet, and they trickle in over a year, and I see so much false information out there. But I'm not going to, every time I see false information, go out there and publicly counter something. It's just something you move on from.
Okay. Would you allow me one more question? It's a short one. Yeah, thanks. Actually, we don't know, but where's the X division? Actually, we have the feeling Austin Aries is the X division, and I can remember a few months and years ago, the people always talked about the company with the crazy X division stuff, and the X division was always the heart of TNA, but actually we can see it.
Well, honestly, we've had a tough go of it lately. We've had a lot of injuries in the X division that's affected some long-term plans that we had, but, we'll continue to make this an important division. This is not a division that you can just put anybody in. I mean, if they are not competing at a certain level, it's glaringly, what's the word I'm looking for? It shows glaringly. And so I think that, to have found a Jesse Sorensen and Austin Aries, those are two great examples of our commitment to the X Division in a short period of time. But, it's been disheartening for all of us to have dealt with a lot of injuries, over the past 12 to 18 months. But hopefully we'll get everybody healthy. I'm hoping, gut check, we are specifically looking for X Division type wrestlers. So if X Division type wrestlers are out there reading this, hearing this, please take that seriously because it is a top priority for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Dixie. It was a great honor to talk to you, and I hope to see you next year in London.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Your next question comes from Lolita Augustine with Evening Times.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Our first girl, thank you.
I know, I must be the only one. My first question, I'm calling from Scotland, and we're looking forward to, the tour coming over in January. What was the decision to bring the steel cage over for the live shows?
Well, we wanted to do something different that's not been done on the tour before. So, the UK tours is really the beginning of our road to lockdown, and we thought, what better way to, give people over there a firsthand live taste of just how exciting one of those matches can be in person. So that's really why we made the decision.
Brilliant. And just a quick follow-up for the Glasgow shows. I was speaking with Bobby Roode last week, and he was saying that, it's always good to come over to the UK because, it's always the North American fans who get, more of an experience, and that, the UK fans get spoiled when you do come over. How important is it to focus on, overseas markets and to come over and to see your fans in different countries?
Well, I don't know if I got the question wrong or if I was hearing it differently, but I think that, the UK fans, that it's in the United States, they're spoiled because they can go to Universal at any point. They can, we're probably within a state or two of anybody at any given week throughout the year. But, going over there is incredibly special for us. It's truly one of the highlights of my year, of everybody's year. And, the fans are they're just so fantastic. And, it's the first country that has given us their stamp of approval to say you deserve to be the number one rated show in our country. And, we'll never forget that. And as we amass more and more countries that, hopefully we'll be able to have those same kind of accomplishments. But we'll never forget, what the UK has meant to our business. And hopefully we'll always be able to give back in a big way.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, and I hope tomorrow goes well, and I look forward to seeing the show in Glasgow.
Thank you so much. I look forward to being there, too.
Good.
Your next question comes from Alistair McGeorge with the Crimson Mask.
Hi, Dixie. I hope you're well.
Wonderful, thank you.
My question is kind of following up on what you were just saying, actually, about the UK fan base. Obviously, they have made you the highest-rated wrestling show over here. Do you think, when you come over here for the live events, do you notice a difference in the atmosphere over here, kind of something special about the crowds?
Well, I mean, there's no doubt. I think, one, because we're not over there all the time, and two, because it's just, I think that they feed off our love of being there. I mean, they love the product. They have given us the great opportunity to be the number one rated wrestling show in the UK and Ireland. But in addition to that, when we go over there, we're so grateful for that. And the guys, they put on shows that show them why we deserve that spot. And, their response is great. So it's a really very special tour, and it's a great give and take, whether it be, the smaller venue in Dublin, which I swear has got to be one of my favorite shows ever, the smaller venue we played in Liverpool, one of my favorite shows ever, or one of the big shows in Manchester or London. I mean, it's such a great, just an electric experience.
But just a very quick follow-up with regards to your live events that you bring over here. I know I've spoken to Mickie James in the past, and she mentioned it's something she's particularly proud of, kind of the amount you do give back to the fans. Do you think that is important to give something a bit extra at these events, like the meet and greets, the photo opportunities?
It's not just important, it's critical. I mean, from day one, I was very, very behind the scenes, but the one thing I wanted to do is just be out on the floor and shake hands and hug people and just look in their eyes and say thank you. And I think it's our duty to let the people who have given us this great life that we live and this ride that we're on to say thank you to them.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck for tomorrow.
Thanks you very much.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from Kelly Chris with TNA.
Hey, Dixie.
How are you?
I'm fine. Now, as a UK fan, I've actually been to Bound for Glory in Philadelphia this year, and I want to say it's just such a great experience because the TNA treat us fans as fans. We are on par with the wrestlers. We're not below them. And I've been to the UK tour, and my question is, do you want to try and get the tour over here more often? Because when Bishop was on Skype on the last UK party, he said that they want to try and do it once every kind of 4 months. Is that something that you want to try and do?
No, I don't think we'd ever go back to the same venues every 4 months. I think, at some point if there was, the reason to go over there twice a year, that would be great, or go to different cities, every 6 months. But I would definitely, I think the one thing we're trying to do is have more fan parties over there, bring talent over there, and, keep that close personal connection with everybody in between our tour. And I think that, that's something I'm very, very proud of. It's just our way of saying thank you to everybody, and the fact that we're not over there but once a year keeps us connected. But I would love to see us run maybe a second tour in different cities, halfway, through that year.
Yeah, I think as a fan that would be fantastic because the tours out here, they sell out so fast, and it's just a fantastic experience. But yeah, that's my question. Thank you, Dixie, for answering it.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Your next question comes from Vibil Williamson with Total Wrestling Show.
Hi, Dixie.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You recently launched Gut Check on TV, which so far has been male-dominated. Is there any plans to open up to potential knockouts?
Absolutely. In the Gut Check deliberation that will air tomorrow night, after that was filmed, there was talk about one of the next contestants being a female. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Cool. Obviously you're quite a successful woman in the industry. Is there any advice you would give to aspiring women that want to come up and break into TNA or any other wrestling company?
Well, I think no matter if you're male, female, race, creed, color, whatever it happens to be, you have to do your best. You have to be passionate about what you do, and and just try harder than the next person, no matter if they're male or if they're female. And I've been very lucky to have had success in other industries and within wrestling, but it's just, if you work really hard and you believe in what you do and you're passionate about it, I'm sure many of you sitting here listening to me today, at times I feel like I'm a preacher up on a pulpit. I just love this so much, and I believe in what we're doing so much, and I'm so proud to be here. And I think if you have that kind of attitude, and there were so many times, honestly, where this company should have failed to exist. And, you just cannot take no for an answer, and failure is not an option. And I think if you just keep that, no matter who you are, you'll have success.
Well, on that point, what do you think of the negative feedback you might be getting from Brooke Hogan coming into the company?
Well, I think no one's given her a chance yet. I think that, we could have brought in a celebrity to accomplish this that had no wrestling tie. We could have brought in a wrestler to do this that, had no ability to help expose the girls. So I think she's going to be a pleasant surprise for people. She's really impressed me. She's earned my respect. She's a sharp cookie. She's funny as hell. She's sharp. There's a reason that, she is a celebrity in her own right, and she's incredibly talented. And I think she's going to do a really good job. I hope people give her the opportunity.
Oh, thank you very much, Dixie. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Hey,
Hey guys, real quick, we have a few more people in the line for first-time questions, and at this point, if you want to go ahead and get in the queue for a secondary question, we'll be taking secondary questions here in just a few minutes. You can go ahead and get in the queue there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from Chris Duke with the One Wrestling Show.
Hi, Dixie. Thanks for speaking to us today.
Absolutely.
How are you? You doing well?
Having a blast, thank you.
Now, I want to ask you, TNA have this very special relationship in the UK. Last time you were over here in Glasgow, you were using our local talents like our Lionhearts and our Johnny Moss and people like that. Now, is there any standout stars that are not currently signed with TNA who you would like to see over there eventually?
Well, I think it's interesting over the last couple of tours, Doug Williams to some extent, Magnus, he started on our UK tour and was, signed right away. Mark Haskins, the same thing. So I think that, I hope we do see more of local talent on this tour because it's a great way for us to really get to know and expose them to what we do and hopefully, we'll continue to pick up more wonderful talent over there.
Right, and just in a quick follow-up question here, in the UK, we have our UK version of the Apprentice here.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin, are you supporting Ricky Martin to win?
Absolutely. I need to get out there and publicly support him. We've caught some of the stuff on YouTube, and we're all big fans, but I think that's great for wrestling, and I hope he wins.
Brilliant, Dixie. Thanks very much for speaking to us.
Your next question comes from Powell Barkowski with Orange Sports.
Hello, Mrs. Carter.
How are you?
Fine, thanks, and you?
Wonderful, thank you.
Due to more than decent ratings of Impact Wrestling on Orange Sport, TNA viewers begin to ask about TNA live show in Poland. Are there any plans to bring TNA to Poland?
Bobby Roode just had a visit over there just in the last week. I believe we'll be showing that on some of our show tomorrow and of his visit in Warsaw. But yes, we have been talking to some promoters. I think a show over there would be really great. It's just a matter of finding the right promoter, the right building, and just putting it in our schedule.
So a long time TNA fans ask, for example, about six-sided ring. Is there any possibility to you bring it back in the near future? Maybe some special exclusive pay-per-view with six-sided ring.
We used the six-sided ring at the Destination X pay-per-view last year, and maybe we will do that again this year. But the truth of it is that the wrestlers prefer the four-sided ring, and I think the more popularity MMA gets, there is some confusion between the two, and so at this point, the plan is to stay with the four-sided ring and maybe use the six-sided as it relates specifically to some Fun X Division stuff.
Okay, thank you very much, and all the best for you and TNA.
Thank you very, very much.
Our next question comes from Brian Friss with BetweenTheRopes.com.
To follow up on something that I asked before when we were talking about the behind-the-scenes items of the show, going forward, do you plan on having more unscripted interviews where it's more of, hey, we don't have something particular for you to say, or there's just bullet points and guys just do it in your own way?
Absolutely. I mean, that is the goal. We started that last week. There'll be some elements of that on tomorrow night's show. The gut check deliberation was much like that. We're making a change on the gut check panel, and the meeting I actually had with that talent was taped, and elements will be shown. It wasn't scripted. It was as if I was having a meeting, which I was, asking somebody to participate. So I think the more we do things like that, the better it'll be. And these things go so much longer than what we're able to show on TV. So the hope is to show these longer meetings. If people have interest, they can go online and actually see more of it.
I wanted to bring up one other thing. Obviously, Vince Russo was at the company for years, very polarizing figure. Have you noticed any kind of difference with the company from your vantage point since he's departed the company?
Well, I think Vince is a brilliant writer. I think he has a great creative mind. Those are his absolute strengths. And, sometimes it's time for change for somebody's life and for a company, and that was the position that we were in. And, so when change, you try to do things, how can you do it differently or improve upon, things, and that's where we're at right now. But, I'm very happy with, Vince's contribution to TNA over the years. He is a very nice man, and, I wish him truly nothing but success.
Have you seen a difference in the product, though, since he's gone, that you've noticed?
It's not Vince related. It's more of a different mentality, and that was more of us saying, you know what, it's time for us to look at this with fresh eyes, and here's an opportunity to do so. And how are people watching TV today, and what do we do best, and how can we take what we do in a unique capacity, and and take our product to another level? How can we let that help evolve how a viewer might watch professional wrestling? So those are all questions we've been asking ourselves, quite honestly, when Vince was here. And, now's the time. And I think going live and accomplishing that, it's a big, bite to take at one time, but I know that we're going to do great. And like I said, this is going to be a work in progress. It's not going to be an overnight change, but I'm very excited about what's going on.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Your next question comes from Carlos Gasco with KGB Wrestling.
Hi, Dixie. Hola, Dixie.
¿Cómo está?
Muy bien. Un placer. It's a big pleasure for us to stay here tonight. And I want to ask if you have any plans for Spain now with TNA.
For what? I'm sorry?
To come to Spain.
Oh, to España. Oh, absolutely a wonderful country. We've had some television there. We're not currently in the market, but there have been discussions about touring, even though we don't currently have television in España. And I hope that happens. There's a very big wrestling fan base there, and, I want to be a part of it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dixie.
Muchísimas gracias. Adiós.
Hasta luego.
Your next question comes from Salva Hernandez, TNA.
Hi, Dixie. How are you? First of all, congratulations on your 10th anniversary.
Gracias.
We are also calling from Spain, and we also would like to know if there is any kind of chance. WWE is having a lot of success every time they come here live. So maybe there will be any kind of chance in a near future to have a big live show here in Spain for us?
Yeah, I think it's like I just said. I think, even though we don't have television there now, there are talks about trying to do a tour in Spain. We've sent some talent over there within the past year and a half. We need to continue to build and develop that market because there's a lot of wrestling fans over there.
Okay, thank you, Dixie, and good luck tomorrow.
Gracias. Hasta luego.
Your next question comes from Blaine Vandergrind with Slam Wrestling.
I just got to ask about the 10th anniversary coming up. As TNA president, looking back at the last 10 years, what are some of your fondest memories from that history?
I think that the tough times I look back on, honestly, as fondly as I do the biggest successes. I remember when there was a time when, we knew we had to get off pay-per-view, the weekly format, things needed to change, we needed a television option, and things were so bleak, and I think that just builds character if you look at it the right way. And, would I want to go back to those times? Absolutely not. But when I look back now, I'm very grateful to have had them. And I tell the staff all the time, and I tell the wrestlers, I think all of us who have been here from the beginning, we have a different perspective because we know how hard it was. We know, the challenging times we had. I know the fights that would break out on a Christmas Eve dinner at home, over, what was happening. And, and those just, they made me stronger. And it has just fueled my passion for having this be successful, and there are no other options. So those are big things. I mean, obviously the deal with Spike, continuing to have that go 2 hours, now going live. Kurt Angle joining us was huge. Sting has been, such a tremendous constant to this company and to me from the very beginning. Having Hulk Hogan join us, and as it relates to Hulk, not just as a television personality, but the commitment that he is making behind the scenes is something, I'm excited people are going to see a small bit of now when we do expose things that are happening behind the scenes. But, all he's doing out there has been made a tremendous impact on me. And I feel very blessed to have had, really all these great men and women in my life. And, I'm excited about the next 10 years in our journey.
Okay, I'm not sure if you answered this already, but is there any chance of maybe taking Impact on the road in the future?
I did answer it, but the answer was, would love to, but right now I think live is just the way to go. I think there will be a different energy to our show. Definitely there's a different energy when we're on the road, even if it's taped. But I think for right now, with what we're doing, our ability to have the social media interaction and to touch the fans during the show, and for people not to know what we do in advance and not to read somewhere, if something was good or bad and form their own opinions, I think that's more critical right now. And let's just grow this brand and have a lot of success and go on the road and take it live.
Okay, thanks again.
Your next question comes from Alan Levin with Punch Lyrics.
Hi, Dixie. How are you?
I'm good, Alan. Thank you.
I would like to, first of all, Michael and myself would like to congratulate you on your 10th anniversary. And our Israeli fans would like to know what made you take interest in wrestling and in TNA in particular.
Well, it's just, I think sometimes there's a plan, I don't think sometimes, there is a plan for us in our life, and I was meant to do this, and I was meant for, Jeff Jarrett to walk into my life a little more than 10 years ago and to take a meeting with him that, I didn't even know if I should take, and I was blown away by that first meeting, by the passion of these people and the excitement around it and the challenge of it, and, became more and more involved from the very beginning. And I just feel lucky to be a part of it.
Okay. One more question. We, the Punchliners, are the only wrestling news and update show here in Israel, and we're doing our best to raising TNA spirit here in Israel. And our Israeli fans were psyched for this conversation, and everyone would like to know what are the chances of TNA coming here to the Holy Land this year?
Well, I can't imagine a more amazing experience than getting, to come to the Holy Land and have a wrestling show, quite honestly. I know for a majority of our wrestlers it would mean so much to them personally as well as professionally. There have been a few conversations in the past as it relates to a show there, and I'm hopeful that something will come to fruition, in the next year or two.
Yeah, we hope so too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Your next question comes from Mike Johnson with PWInsider.com.
Hello again.
Hello, buddy.
I wanted to ask you about something I've written about a number of times over the last year with the pay-per-views, where having been in the Impact Zone a number of times, there's an energy there live that with the live broadcast doesn't always get translated on the pay-per-views in terms of the crowd noise, the crowd chants, the reaction. And I've seen where other people write about how the crowd's dead. And having been there, I know that's not the case. It's just it's not translated well in terms of the audio levels. Going live every week, is this like something that you guys have looked into in ways maybe tweaking the production and putting some money into finding ways that the live experience can transfer better to the live broadcast?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I know it happened at the Nashville pay-per-view. The Experience Live was not, I don't believe, what the crowd energy did not translate as well. It was a different type of building. We've got to do a better job at that, and I hope that we've had some shows of late where you can barely hear yourself talk, and people talk about piped-in crowd noise and all this other stuff. I mean, you've been there. It gets pretty rowdy, and I'm hoping that by going live, it will just get rowdier. It'll be more of a party, and that we're able to capture it and let the rest of the world hear it.
Right. Just a quick follow-up on the relationship with Spike TV. Obviously, it's a very symbiotic relationship. Without Spike, TNA probably would not exist today. And without TNA, Spike probably wouldn't have one of their better-rated products. With the live broadcast, is there a possibility of doing overruns, going longer if you guys need? Is there a possibility of some of these concepts like Gut Check getting split off into separate TV series? Like, I know you guys have just agreed to a brand-new deal. How much larger and more expansive can we expect to see the relationship between the two sides grow over the next couple of years?
Well, I've been vocal. We need more programming in the United States. I feel like that's one of the reasons that we're so successful in the United Kingdom is because we have more shows on air. And so that's really important to our growth. Kevin Kay and I have been having a lot of discussions about this. It's the perfect time because we're still at the end of an old contract with a new contract in front of us, which gives us a lot of opportunity and leeway to work. He's committed and knows and agrees that that's important for us to do. So, those discussions are happening. But as far as the overrun is concerned, they've got a live show on at 11 o'clock Eastern, and so, we probably have a little bit of leeway on a little bit of an overrun, but I don't expect to see us go, 5-7 minutes long.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike.
Your next question comes from Chris Kelly with TNA.
Hello?
Hello.
Now, in your opinion, who has, in the last 10 years, brought the most impact? I mean, there's yourself and JB, but who do you think kind of brought the most and kind of helped impact wrestling the most?
Wow. I think from an overall, kind of iconic standpoint, Sting, from just being a constant, being there, and letting us have him as an anchor. I think from a wrestling perspective, no one could touch what Kurt Angle has brought to the show and to us, and how he has made everybody better. And from a TNA perspective, there's so many great originals, that I feel like are finally coming into their own, and that's why I'm excited about, these format changes, because I think they're, I hope they all step up to the plate. We'll see what happens. The ball is now in their court, and it's up to them to, knock it down the line. And but AJ Styles being, as many belts as he's won and amazing matches he's given, and he's just now coming into his own. I'm very proud of that too.
Okay, awesome. Well, I once again, good. Well done for winning 10 years, and I'm pretty sure TNA will do 10 more years.
Oh, I'd love it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Your next question comes from Paul Wine with Fever Keeps It Real.
Hello?
Paul, your line is open.
Hello?
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Dixie.
How are you?
Good. How are you again?
Good, thanks.
I just wanted to say, as far as your shows at the Impact Zone, and you do other stuff, and you're doing great things with Ring Ka King, what do you think is the biggest contributor to your success?
I think it's the quality of our talent. I think that if we didn't, wrestling matters. Wrestling is what we do. We tell our stories through wrestling, and I happen to think we have the best roster on the planet. And so I think that's the most important thing we have.
Okay, and a follow-up question, and this is kind of a comical one, and I hope I make you laugh. But and I don't want to bring up the other company, but remember when Vince hired Eric Bischoff as the general manager of Raw?
Yes.
Not if, but when, and that's a positive thing. When you take over and become the better company than WWE, would you hire Vince McMahon as the general manager of TNA?
Yeah, I'd consider that. I think right now we're the better company. We're just not the bigger company.
You are. I mean,
yeah, I think he's got a lot to offer. I don't know if he'll fit in our new system, but absolutely.
Well, thank you for answering my questions, and it's been an honor to speak with you.
Thank you so much for being on.
Your next question comes from Simon Cassidy with Fusion Radio.
Hi, Dixie. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. If you could sign someone from the competition, who would it be?
The Rock. I think he's great. I love what he does in movies. I love the kind of exposure that he brings to wrestling outside of what we do on television, and I think that's magic.
Just a quick follow-up. If there was anyone on the full-time roster, who would that be?
I don't know. There's a lot of talented people at WWE, but I'm pretty content with who we have.
That's great. Thank you, and all the best in the future.
Thank you very much for the sentiment.
All right, guys, we're going to take two more questions. These will be the last two questions. We're running a little short on time here, so these will be the last two questions.
Your next question comes from Jason Powell with ProWrestling.net.
Yeah, Dixie, you mentioned you're trying to renegotiate the pay-per-view contracts. What do you see as the ideal number of pay-per-view events you would like to run?
Jason, I don't know that answer yet. 6, 8, or maybe. Right now, I'd be happy with 10. I think that it's hard because we make a certain amount of money on them, and they make us money, and I've got to fill that revenue elsewhere. I mean, if we were losing money, I would find ways just to get out of contracts regardless of the situation. But that's not the deal. We do make money, so we've got to fill those revenues elsewhere. We've got to hope by doing fewer. Like I said before, instead of going to 3 hours on the show, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So, if we can do more pay-per-view buy rates than we do now with fewer shows, and people feel like the quality's better, then that's where I'd like to get.
Are there any plans in place to fill the void left by Don West leaving, because he's been so valuable when it comes to selling merchandise at live events and whatnot?
That's a heartbreaker. I mean, we love Don. He's such a part of our family, and he is going to be sorely missed. But you know what? Life goes on, and I think the one thing we try to do is the hit by a bus plan on everybody that's there. He has this young man, this young prodigy, Jimmy J, and he's been out on the road under his tutelage, and Don West is a hard one to replace. He really, really is, and he'll always be a big part of our success, and he'll be sorely missed.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
Your final question comes from Matthew Herrick with InsidePulse.com.
Hi again, Dixie. I just had one more question regarding. I know how in love you are with your roster, and you have so much talent in there, and it just seems like it's endless, and you can't feature as many people on the show as you want. And we have noticed that you're almost rotating people in and out, as we went a couple months without seeing Rob Van Dam, a couple months without seeing Mr. Anderson. Is this a conscious decision where you want to keep these guys fresh and off of television and bring them back maybe every 3 months or every 6 months? And is this a plan going forward?
It's absolutely a conscious decision. I mean, obviously there's the injuries. The Chris Sabins, the Jesse Sorensens that are gone way too long. But I think look, I always say if you're married to a supermodel, yes, she's hot, but I mean, at some point in the relationship, do you just wake up and you don't look at her like she's the cover of the Sports Illustrated, So I feel like it's always good for there to be a time to step back and, take a break and have somebody, come back fresh and maybe, work on, who they are and try to, take their character to another level. And so I think that's an important part. And the biggest challenge, the single biggest challenge we have is we have so many men and women who deserve to be on TV each and every week, and it's very difficult to, not have that happen. It hurts me because I want everybody to be on. But again, the 5-pound story in a 5-pound bag, we've got, for all of us to succeed, we've got to be more conscientious about, slowing down and telling the story the right way versus just trying to get everybody on. When you do that, nothing makes sense. Nothing gets over. And, again, we have been guilty of that in the past. And I think that even though it's a difficult decision, I think it is helping our product and will eventually help all of our talent on our roster.
A quick follow-up to that, if I can. With that in mind and being able to rotate out certain wrestlers, would it come up to maybe be thrown out there that maybe we do an episode where the television title is your main event and you're featuring younger guys or newer guys going after not just have the world title be the focus of every single episode of Impact? Like, can you mix that up even more and take those risks of trying to feature younger talent?
I think if you look at our last pay-per-view, from top to bottom, everybody on there had a reason to be on there. Everybody on there gave an amazing performance. Everybody on their story mattered. And that does not happen all the time. That's very difficult to do. We're working very hard that it doesn't matter if it's the title picture or, it's the television title or no title at all, that whoever is on the show is on there for a reason. And again, guilty, we've been guilty in the past of not doing this consistently or doing it to the best of our ability. But what we're trying to do now is rectify that.
Great. Thank you very much, Dixie.
Thank
you again for having us all on.
No, it's been great.
Once again, if you would like to ask a question, press *1.
Guys, I just want to make a quick announcement here. Dixie has been nice enough to give us a few more minutes. We have a very limited amount of time, but she is going to answer a couple more questions, so definitely get back in queue if you would like a few more minutes with Dixie. Let us jump in the queue, and we are adding 5 more minutes to the clock. So,
hey, Chris, can I say something real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Whoever's still on, I just want to say, thank you. Thank you for spreading your love of wrestling to your audience. Whether you like what we do or you don't like what we do, we're all in the same boat. We all have the same love. And, it's great to be able to spend this time, if you all want to do this more on an ongoing basis. I have no problem answering any questions, tough questions. It doesn't matter. The one thing you'll hopefully have learned from me over the years is I'll always be honest with you. But I have enjoyed this tremendously, and I'm good to go if you guys have more questions.
So, guys, jump back in the queue. We've got 5 already lined up here, and we actually cleared the queue a few minutes ago. So we'll bring it back open, and you can jump in, and we'll have just a few more minutes here.
Your next question comes from Mike Johnson with PWInsider.com.
Third time's a charm. Hello. I wanted to ask about the reorganization of the digital media side of the company. I know that Bill Banks is taking all that over. How important is it to you to get the online distribution in terms of like streaming out there and maybe future internet pay-per-views and the TNA Roku channel up and running and getting everything kind of streamlined and improved in comparison to the way it was being handled?
Well, it's critically important. Technology is changing everything on a daily basis. It's important that we stay ahead of the curve. And, we don't have the largest staff in the world, and there are a lot of people within this company who work nonstop, whether I'm, emailing or texting them at, 6 in the morning or 11:30 at night, they're right there. And, so it's important that people have the time to be able to focus on what we need accomplished. And this is one thing that we really need to have, a specific concerted effort towards. And, Bill's done an amazing job, juggling and handling so many things for us. But I think you'll see him have even more success, and the company have, more success with this kind of focus.
I guess one quick follow-up. How soon will you know whether the live broadcasts are going to be expanded beyond the 12 weeks? When do you expect to have that conversation?
You know what? Honestly have not had that conversation, not even thinking about that. I want to each Thursday just attempt to put on our very best show, knock it out of the park, give somebody a little something different, unique, and, let them feel, the excitement and the passion that we're feeling for what we're doing right now. So, that will, I'm sure, play itself out at some point down the line. Right now, I'm just very happy to have the summer to be able to go live.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Your next question comes from Adam Davey with 606Z2.
Hi, Dixie again. Just a very quick one with regards to the going live stuff. How's that going to play out in the likes of the UK and all the other territories that have been on tonight?
It won't. I don't think it will have any effect. The main effect I think you'll see is just a show with more energy. I think it will have an impact on, no pun intended or pun intended, on just the quality of the show. Hopefully, even with all the things that can happen live, I'd much rather have that happen and just have that additional energy. So I think that's the main impact that going live will have for us internationally.
I was talking more about the way that it's broadcast. Are there any plans to do it live in the other territories as well?
At this point, no. We could always talk about that if we were to do it. We'd probably start with the UK, I would assume. And I would love to have a live broadcast there. That would be the next step of where we go.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from Paul Wine with Fever Keeps It Real.
Hi, Dixie, again. As my other colleague said, third time's the charm. I have to ask, we were at Bound for Glory. We covered it thanks to your company. And
which one?
That would be, the one just recently, the last one.
Okay.
You guys did a phenomenal job. I mean, every fan was had the Joker smile on their face.
Mm-hmm.
You really did. You really pulled out all the stops, and you did a really good job. So what can fans look forward to for this year's Bound for Glory fan interaction?
Well, I think that every fan interaction is special because that's our chance to get up close and personal with everybody and thank them. We haven't announced where we're going for Bound for Glory this year. We're looking at a few options and hope to make that decision, within the next week. I hope where we go will make people excited. And I got to tell you, I was ringside for a good part of that show, and to hear the people around me, going, "This is the greatest night of my life," and just to hear those kind of comments. I mean, even people that didn't know that I had snuck up and where I was sitting, they didn't even see me sitting there at the beginning. Just to hear that real live fan interaction was very special. Again, a tribute to the live shows that we put on.
Well, if I may say so, and I'll leave it alone because my other colleagues have questions. I had a few of my crew members with me. The show actually brought them to tears. That's how you guys did a job.
Well, the guys give me a hard time because I can get emotional and weepy myself over things I get excited about, and so I'm glad to hear that from other people as well.
So thank you, and again, it's been an honor to speak with you.
Thank you very much. Back at you.
Thank you.
Once again, if you would like to ask a question, press *1.
Have I worn you guys out?
Your next question comes from Kelly Chris with TNA.
Hi, Dixie. Now, do you think that TNA is quite unfairly targeted by most of the internet wrestling fans, I say in brackets, because they tend to jump on the bandwagon? I mean, many fans won't give TNA a chance. I mean, because they go, oh yeah, it's not the other company, that is rubbish. Do you think that TNA is quite unfairly targeted by these fans?
Well, look, I know, in life, are we not all Monday morning quarterbacks on some level, right? And I think, I think that a lot of their criticism comes from their passion. And so, like I said before, I do listen to them. I do like to hear, their feedback, good and bad. But I think it all stems from their passion. I mean, maybe there's a few that are not passionate about it and are just out to be spiteful, but that's human nature as well, and that's just life, and move on. But I think that overall, I think people just want us to be as good as we can be, and I want the same thing. And we've given reasons. We've given people some reasons in the past to complain and moan. And no one will we ever get every single show perfect. Absolutely not. But the fact that we're going to try hard and we're going to try to turn things up and try to take a different approach to what I think we already are doing well right now, at least give us points for trying.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask anyone nowadays, with Impact going live, that's a great move because it gets rid of spoilers. Because in my opinion, spoilers hurt wrestling.
I agree. It's very true.
Fans are going to have to watch it. They can't judge it from text. And I think going live is fantastic. Like I said, well done 10 years, and I look forward to seeing where Bound for Glory is because I plan on attending it once again.
Wonderful. Look forward to seeing you there then.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Your next question comes from Simon Cassidy with Fusion Radio.
Hi, Dixie. Thanks for talking to us again.
Absolutely.
Just for your fans in the UK, what can they expect from this year's tour?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we're doing, obviously we're going to be taping 2 television shows in London. I would love to bring TV to Manchester, and if our schedule can move around, I would love to be able to announce something like that. I think, going back to Glasgow, adding that date. I'm looking forward to the Dublin date. That's always a very, very crazy, fun night. And again, the cage match. We've attempted to do some things over there, and bottom line is we had to bring our cage, do it the right way, and so they will truly get to experience what it's like to have an Impact Wrestling cage match on this tour.
Any updates on who will be in the cage match?
I'm not sure who will actually be in the cage match. I think already announced are Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, Bobby Roode, James Storm, AJ, RVD, Anderson, Velvet, Gale. Probably a handful of others have already been announced. It's going to be a great lineup, I'm confident, and it'll be fun. But I'm not sure who will actually be in those cage matches yet.
That's great. Well, thank you again, and
thank
I look forward to the UK tour.
Me too.
All right, guys, these are our last 2 questions. We're taking 2 more questions, and then we are going to be wrapped up. So these are the last 2, guys.
Your next question comes from Adam Davey with 606Z2.
Hi, Dixie again. Just a very quick one. I've been absolutely amazed by the turnaround in Bully Ray. I mean, literally a year ago, who would have thought that he would be one of the best heels in the industry at the moment? So congratulations on creating on that one. From your point of view, though, who do you think is someone who could be the next big star that we just haven't seen yet? Who, in your opinion, fits that bill?
Well, I don't know if we haven't seen them yet, but I think that I think that it's where Bobby Roode is going. I think James Storm. Honestly, I saw things in him that just truly, gave me goosebumps. He excited me, and, I love the work that he was doing. I got to tell you, he went into lockdown knowing he was coming out a world champion, and, he has taken that loss very, very hard. And I'm hoping that he's just going to use that to fire an even more passionate James Storm when we see him again. But there's so many. I think that Bully's a fantastic example of somebody reinventing themselves. And I think I could just go down the list of the people who, in my opinion, are at the absolute top of their game.
That's great. Brilliant. Well, thanks again for tonight. It's been a brilliant interview.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Your final question comes from Mike Johnson with PWInsider.com.
All right, I guess I'm finishing this off. Hello again.
Hello again.
Got a little bit of an odd question for you. Having so much and praising and the company kind of being thin in that regard. One thing that WWE does have over you guys is that they've got a number of different offices in different places around the world. I know you guys have your London offshoot with Simon. But is it maybe time that TNA opens up an office in, say, like a market like Los Angeles or New York to work specifically with media relations and things of that nature to help when there's a Brooke Hogan in town or a Hulk or an Angle, to kind of have a closer relationship with the major media in those markets to help the company get the word out and do more promotion in that regard?
It's absolutely a next step for our company, not just in LA or New York, but a London or different places around the world where we need to have bases, we need to have people and feet on the ground every day out there representing us and opening doors for us. And so that's definitely the goal of where we want to go and where we will be going. But just as a testament to, if you knew the size of our crew versus, our competitors' crew, it's just amazing that the work that they do. And, I'm very proud. We get a lot done for the number of people we have. And, I think we've gotten a lot of great people, but we definitely, we could definitely use more hands on deck, especially in key areas to help us grow.
All right, and I guess just a quick follow-up. I know this is all about the live impact for tomorrow, and it should be. Are there any updates on Ring King or All Wheels Wrestling, where those projects stand going forward?
No, not right now. We're looking at a few new potential territories for Ring King. There's some conversations happening, and hopefully we'll be making an announcement about India soon. And just as TNA as a brand, as a corporation, we need to grow outside of wrestling, grow our properties in different manners like that to be the kind of company the kind of company that we want to be. So, our future is bright. We've had a tremendous first 10 years. We've overcome a lot of adversity, and I think where we're at right now, we're poised to have 10 very, very exciting years ahead of us. And again, to all of you on the line, thank you. As you can tell, I am so excited about what's happening with our company right now and where we're going, and hopefully you guys will start to feel it tomorrow live on Spike TV.
My name is James Walsh, and I'd like to thank you for checking out the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. If you have not done so already, please do. Click that subscription button and the notifications bell. This way you'll be notified anytime I upload any new or new to you classic content from our archives that date back to 2002. If you get the opportunity, please also check out www.wrestlingepicenter.com for all your wrestling news and info needs, as well as our store to keep us going free and clear. Without any further delay, let's get to why you came here, the content here on YouTube.